In tech news, U.S. regulators are moving toward tougher rules for internet service providers like Comcast, Verizon, and more. Today, the FCC is expected to approve a plan that puts the internet in the same regulatory camp as the telephone. This would require that providers act in the public's interest when providing broadband connections. The goal is to prevent broadband providers from intentionally blocking or slowing web traffic. And we have a little bit more on this in the tech department. Dan and Ryan, over to you.
Well, yeah, because you've heard that term probably, net neutrality, and you might not know exactly what it means. So we thought Ryan Eldridge from Nerds on Call was just the man to break it down. We got two topics for you, actually, net neutrality and then also this thing called Superfish. Let's start with net neutrality.
Do it.
As a user at my house, I want this, don't I?
The good news is you already have it.
Okay.
Net neutrality already exists. Every website on the internet is treated exactly the same. But the ISPs are saying that places like Netflix and Hulu, where we're streaming our videos, where we're doing legal access to content, those take up more space on the internet and cause the rest of us to get slow connections when we're checking email or doing business. And so they're proposing, what they want to do is set up two separate speeds on the internet. One for just regular use, and one for, like, they call it a fast lane, where you can get premium content faster, you can watch your Netflix without interruption, you can get HD content, now 4K content, which is going to take up even more space. Well, the problem with that is they want to charge, possibly, us consumers, also charge the other guys, Google, Netflix, anybody else providing content. And while that sounds okay, well, I kind of want a faster internet, everybody does, but it stifles innovation. And you're giving access to just the cable companies and the telecommunications companies power over the rest of the internet, saying, well, Netflix will charge you $1 million a day for your content.
Okay.
But let's say I have a new startup and I want to put my content out there. Right now we can all compete equally on the internet.
I follow you.
But if Netflix can spend $10 million,
they've got an advantage.
They got a huge advantage.
Okay.
So all of a sudden all the startups are going to die. Silicon Valley is going to start to shrink because all that's just to get on the internet is going to cost too much money. So that's one problem.
Okay.
Also taxes and all the other stuff that we're getting right now. If we can change and classify the internet as a utility, which is something that we all use, then the FCC can regulate it. If you remember last year, there was a big hullabaloo about going on and regulating the internet, and everybody wanted to do all kinds of stuff. Well, that was challenged in court, and it turns out the FCC was overreaching. They don't have the power to regulate the internet, and so that was overturned in the court. And so now what they're doing today is they're trying to classify it as a utility.
Pass a law that would circumvent the court ruling.
So the FCC chairman has proposed this, and so they're voting on it today, and they're expecting it to split down party lines.
The chairman will vote in favor of it?
He'll vote in favor. There's 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans. Republicans are suggesting that they're not going to vote in favor of it.
Okay.
The Republicans, they say, we don't want more regulation. We want a free and open internet, but we don't want the FCC to regulate it. And so they're proposing roughly the same thing, but just without the regulation.
Hope you all understood. We're going to quiz you at the end of the show on that. All right, what about this thing called Superfish? You've been in here in the past and you've told us what great deals you can get sometimes on the Lenovo computers.
Yes.
Yeah, but careful what you get, huh?
Lenovo is the #1 manufacturers of computers in the world. And in order to make their equipment cheaper, they put all kinds of different programs, trial programs on their PC. We all get the Norton trial or the McAfee trial. Well, they also have other little programs in there like photo editing and shopping assistance and things like that. Well, Lenovo put a program on computers called Superfish. And it was designed that when you would go on certain websites, they could show ads on the website. In fact, on Apple.com, they were able to show websites. So imagine what it would cost to advertise on Apple.com. Thousands, if not millions of dollars. And so we have a screenshot. I don't know if they have it in the studio. But there's a screenshot where you see it's Apple's homepage and then an ad of all these different iPads you can buy. Sounds pretty cool for Lenovo because if somebody clicks an ad and buys something, Lenovo makes money or they sell that advertising space. But those advertisements aren't vetted by anybody. So who knows what you're getting?
Apple wouldn't have put those on there.
No, they wouldn't have. No way.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem with Superfish is that it hijacks what's called a secure connection. So normally I tell everyone, hey, if you're on the website and you see HTTPS in the address bar, you're pretty safe because that's an encrypted connection. Well, what Superfish does is it writes a certificate to your browser and stands between you and the internet and takes all of that secure traffic that you think is secure and reads it before it gets to you. So if you're checking your email, your bank statements, Facebook, you're doing all kinds of personal things you think is secure, they're able to see it. And here's the worst part. When Superfish wrote those certificates, they used the same encryption code on every PC, which means that all you had to do is get that code, a hacker has to get that code, and they can get into anybody's stuff and see what they're doing. And it's already been cracked.
That's not super.
No, so there's a removal tool. First thing you want to do is go to lastpass.com/superfish. They have a detection tool. So if you have a Lenovo machine, run this program, it'll tell you if you've got it. Second thing you need to do is update Windows Defender. The biggest problem is if you just go into your add remove programs and remove it, the root certificate that it created stays, which means that hackers can still get into that program. So update Windows Defender, and that will remove the root certificate. So you got to do those two things. And Lenovo, if you go to support.lenovo.com, you can download the Superfish removal tool, and that'll remove the tool itself.
I'm changing your name. You're not a nerd. You're a really smart guy. Wow. Thank you, Ryan.
You're welcome.
We'll see you again. Kiva?
Yeah, that was a lot of information.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get that on the website, right?
Yes.